French Foreign Legion in action. This is part 2. Let's get going.
The Legion has a motto, Legio Patria Nostra. The Legion is our homeland. Give up all your ties to everything else, and you swear allegiance to the Legion.
You know, even in the U.S. Marine Corps is God, Country, Corps, right? These guys are like Legion, Legion, Legion. Not France, not God. Legion, 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 right? That's the motto. That's the kind of guys that want protecting me.
The force of the Legion is that we are all here, united for the same cause. Different cultures, different traditions, different religions, different colors, and different mentalities.
Instead of fragmenting the unit, their diversity forges a bond that keeps them together.
You know, I don't know that diversity forms the bond, right? I would say the diversity probably brings in some good elements from the guy from Estonia and the guy from Italy together, and probably brings in some bad elements. You're going to find a common ground amongst your comrades, and that's what happens in these situations.
After a while, nationalities fade away. It's first month, you're an American. But after a while, once we get to know your comrades, then that fades away. You're no longer an American.
I did hear from a guy that was in the Legion that, you know, let's say the Russians will stick together, the Italians will stick together, probably because of language, right in the beginning. You have something to talk about, but I don't know how long it takes to meld into one melting pot. Hey, put that in the comments if you guys got any experience in that.
Since the Legion has 100-odd nationalities serving, it can draw on the experience of just about every nation in the world. So rather than having a unique way of doing things, the Legion can provide 100 different ways of doing things.
I think that's a real benefit, right? You got a guy that was a British soldier, you got a guy that's U.S. Marine coming together. They're going to bring unique attributes that you're not going to have by themselves. So that's definitely a plus for Legion.
Another force bonds the soldiers together. Language.
It's got to be terrible learning that.
French is the only language every recruit speaks. Many arrive not knowing a single word.
He simply showed up at the door, wanting to be a Legionnaire. He's Mongolian. And of course, they have a totally different alphabet and culture.
Think about that for a second. They don't have Mongolian French interpreters. So this guy gets there, maybe can point at something, grab something to say what he wants. But there is no Mongolian French interpreters, I suspect, at the Legion headquarters.
C'est une Rangers. Répétez.
We took him in just like the others. But, of course, it's hard, because we've never had a Mongolian, and our two languages are so different.
When you first join the Foreign Legion, it's a jungle. You've got a very, very bad level of French. Guys have got 2 months of service in the army or in the Foreign Legion. It's normal they're not going to speak the language.
The Legion makes sure you learn, one way or another.
You learn fast, you get your head kicked in. It starts off, and they're really reasonably lenient if you don't.
And they got two options, right? As you say, head kicked in. Are they going to give you a birthday cake if you get a word right? I mean, there's not much slack here. I don't know there's much room for... They got to learn the French to operate on the battlefield.
Understand things. They take into account that you've only been there a short period of time, but the longer you're there, the more they expect you to know. And if you don't get with the program fast, it can get quite painful.
After a few weeks, a new devotion sets in. A devotion to the Legion itself, above all else. 1962. After a bloody decade of war, France reluctantly grants independence to Algeria, long a French territory and a Legion battlefield. Forced to leave thousands of Legionnaire graves behind them, the Legion felt betrayed
I guess so.
and set in motion a coup d'etat.
Wow, think about that, right? They're so pissed off, 1962, they're looking to take out Charles de Gaulle.
Their plan? To assassinate French President Charles de Gaulle. A Legionnaire sniper was chosen and sent to Paris. Ultimately, the plot failed. Some speculate that it was foiled when de Gaulle's route was changed at the last minute.
Wow.
But the Legion suffered irreparable damage. The French government acted to ensure such an insurrection could never be repeated. The elite 1st Parachute Regiment was disbanded, and another created in its place.
There must have been some real upheaval, obviously, if they're disbanding units and putting other people in their place. Wonder what happened if the guys did that. They got disbanded, right? Put that in the comments. Where do you think the disbanded Legionnaires ended up?
It was moved offshore, far from the seat of government, but well within the sights of the French army.
They realized that the Legion itself, as an independent army, could be very dangerous to the French government. So what they did was they brought it under the auspices of the French army itself, whereas prior to that, the Legion was totally independent.
That's interesting. So you figure before the 60s, the Legion just operated on its own, independent, from what he's saying, of the French government, or excuse me, the French military. So that probably was a big change in that point in time in the Legion's history. That's fun stuff there.
Today's recruits enter a Legion far different than that of a half-century ago.
It's very important to keep the Legionnaires training all the time, to keep them busy, because we're used to say that a Legionnaire who is not working is a Legionnaire able to do mistakes.
That's true among any young infantrymen, U.S. or in the Legion. You have a bunch of young Marines that are in garrison, aren't working. I can tell you what they do. They get into trouble. Get into bar fights, DUIs, you fill in the blank. So that's a cross-border, across the Atlantic problem.
Discipline, dedication, and loyalty are the order of the day.
Légionnaire Schneider, à besoin de mon colonel.
C'est la Légion étrangère.
Orders flow from French officer to foreign legionnaire, without question.
Yeah, I wonder how that works behind the scenes. You know, these Legionnaires are out there humping it in Algeria, all sorts of places all over the world, and you got this guy behind a desk. I'm sure that didn't go over too well. And these guys get together with their buddies drinking a beer.
Tu as des bons résultats?
Oui, mon colonel. Dans l'armée allemande, mon colonel.
In one way, it is easier to control in the French Foreign Legion for the chief, because you know that you give an order and you will be obeyed.
On fait un bond de 200 mètres, toujours en essayant de trouver un point d'observation.
When a guy...
Wonder if that's discipline Legionnaires got, or is that... Why is the difference between that and the French army, you know? What do you guys think? Put that in the comments. So why are the Legionnaires so much more disciplined, or at least follow an order and it's obeyed? Seems like that was kind of a shocker to him when he said it.
To move a mountain. The colonel turns around and says, right, tomorrow I move that. We will do it because he said to do it. It's not blind brainwashing. It's if he says that it can be done. We'll,
Chain of command, right? Mission men. These guys aren't worried about the next politically correct crap they have to deal with. These Legionnaires truly determining, hey, am I a true pipe hitter? Am I a true warrior? They want to test their mettle. That's part of the reason they're there. There's not enough money in the world that's going to make someone want to do this job unless they're trying to prove something to themselves.
fine, it can be done.
Recruits are taught to ignore the political or moral implications of their mission.
Where the government decides to send you, that's where they send you. If you start to toss back and forth, well, politically this is wrong, then you think twice about fulfilling your mission.
That's a problem too. Not a problem, but you get guys that think they're politicians in the military. Why are we doing this? Why are we going here? You signed up. Your job is to go wherever the idiot politicians send you and stand by your brothers, right? So you leave and they leave. They talk about, I'm fighting for the guy next to me. You're fighting for the guy next to you so you can get back too, right? So there's a common mission there.
Then you lose that edge that you had.
They are looking for a family. They are looking for a place where they have a specific job, where they get orders, where they don't have to think.
Well, I don't know about that. Don't have to think, right? They have to think to do these missions. I mean, having a life where you've been in the military and you got something going on every day. It's very regimented. That's something. You become an institutional man doing that, right? You guys that know, you've been in the military, even a 4-year hitch. Takes a while to get out and not become institutionalized, where you're used to taking orders, chain of command, plan of the day, carried out. In the civilian world, it's totally different.
Well, they just have to obey, and they are looking for some kind of security in this new place they have chosen for their life.
For those who keep going, a proud moment awaits at the finish line. After 1 month of basic training, the recruits are considered legionnaires.
Now they're getting the real stuff, right?
Fit to wear the kepi blanc, the Legion's trademark white hat.
It's a proud feeling when you put on the white hat, and it's an exclusive club.
Now the party starts.
Club. Very few people wear them.
Nous promettons de servir avec honneur et fidélité.
Once you become a legionnaire after that 1 month period of time, then the training really starts.
Yeah, now you've proven that you got the physical capability. You follow instructions, keep your mouth shut. Now they're going to train you. I'm sure all the gloves are off at this point.
Get tough because you've shown you can make it through that first bit of training and the basic indoctrination. Beyond that, then they have to teach you everything that's involved in being a legionnaire from day to day.
It's all in preparation for what lies ahead as they move into the real world with real battles in some of the most unforgiving conditions.
It's like no fun there. All right, the Horn of Africa, here we go.
For almost 2 centuries, the desert has been a battleground for the French Foreign Legion.
Think about that, 2 centuries, right? U.S. and its allies have been fighting in the Middle East. We can call it 20 years for sure, if not 30, if you include Desert Storm. These guys have been there for 200 plus years, right? In Africa and the desert. That's some serious training those guys got behind their belt and experience.
Chad, Tunisia, Morocco, the great garrisons of the African dunes.
Yeah, and they're not welcome there.
Once legionnaires pass their 4 months of basic training, they may wind up here. Djibouti.
No thanks.
One of the hottest countries on earth.
The thing about Djibouti is it's so far away from what we consider to be the conventional world. You're away from the eyes of anybody. Anything can happen. You follow orders, because if you don't, you can disappear.
That wouldn't give me too much comfort, right? I don't know if this guy is being hyperbolic, but you follow orders, you disappear. I don't like the sounds of that one.
Perched on the Horn of Africa, this former French territory is a mere fraction the size of France, with 1/100th the population. But it's where the action is.
Yeah, I bet.
Captain Philippe Delapelle commands a Legion unit isolated in the desert.
It is a very good place for us because it is close from Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, places which are quite dangerous.
Yeah, no kidding.
The Legion has come at the request of the Djibouti government to guard the borders and thwart terrorists looking for a new home.
What do you guys think the rules of engagement are? All right, so they're there to keep terrorists out, right? I'm curious how the rules of engagement compare to the United States rules of engagement in the Middle East for all those years. My answer, you guys put that in the comments. My answer is their rules of engagement are very, very liberal. Very, very open. It's not wait and see to get shot at, I bet. Put that in the comments. What do you put ROI in the comments? And let me know.
12-13 par l'avant. Direction, plein ouest, pointe à atteindre, entrée ouest de Tadjoura. Itinéraire.
It's difficult, dangerous work. Out here, they have a saying.
12, ici 10, parlez.
Only 3 things can live in this desert. Snakes, scorpions, and French legionnaires.
I love that, right? These guys got a lot of sayings, and they're all on point.
To learn how to survive in these extreme conditions, new legionnaires hit the beach at Arta Plage.
You guys like this series, put part 3 in the comments. Thanks for watching.